we try to collect our comments and review back and incorporate the appropriate information. So as I was explaining, so we have the local plan, and that's the focus of the meeting today. Preceding the local plan, there was a strategic planning team. They're again facilitated by Lori Strumpf with Strumpf Associates. The strategic plan was really an opportunity for us to go out and gather some basic data, some focus groups and things like that. And then we used the strategic plan to feed into or inform development of the local plan. And what I have found is that I know that it's easy to get confused between the two, between the strategic plan and the local plan, but I won't go into a lot more comments at this time, but would certainly like to, I guess, go ahead and officially get the meeting started with a roll call. And
so thank you. Do you want to roll call, or do you look at the I guess I can't remember what the protocol for that is, whether just simply getting a picture of the participants who are on the manning table there, or what's the, how you want to go forward with the roll call there?
How about if we go ahead with the roll call and get there again, that would verify that we have the quorum. Okay.
Well, go ahead then.
And then we can call to order once we verify that.
All right.
So Anthony Cardoza.
I'm here.
Okay. Bill Coleman.
I'm here.
John Capps.
Here.
Christine Kennedy. I know she's here.
Yeah, she's online.
Yes. Gary Campbell.
Here.
Okay. John Redding.
Here.
Luke Seychow.
Present.
Okay. Nat Marshall.
Here.
Renee Chalmers.
Here.
Okay. Robbie Morrison. Robbie is muted, but I think she's here with us. Scott Francis.
Here.
Sonia Todd. And
Present.
thank you. Sterling Wilder.
I'm here.
Tracy Bledo.
I'm here.
Okay. So this represents those, let's see, we do have a few other folks attending who are calling in by phone. Ron Lovelace.
Here.
Lauren Anderson.
Here.
Okay. And so that constitutes a quorum for the Workforce Development Board. And so let me go down the list of guests. And for this meeting, we will consider our elected officials guests. And so we have Kenny Brown.
Thank you, sir.
Jennifer Moore.
Here.
John Hinkle. I know John is with us.
So he's still listed. He's still muted though.
Yes. Okay. So we do have several other, this is a public meeting, and we do have several other guests joining us from various capacities, various stakeholder groups. We have Gary Christie.
Present.
Keith Cook. Kimberly McIver.
Here.
Mallory Cook. Mallory is muted. Mary Zirkle.
Hello.
Okay. Nina Razai.
I'm here.
Okay. And Tim Saunders.
Here.
Okay. Is there anyone whose name I omitted besides Lori Strumpf? Okay. Anyone who whose name I did not call out? Well, thank you, Nat. We do have a quorum of board members present.
Okay, Ben, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us today. We'll try to get through this as quickly as we can, but making sure we cover everything that is necessary. This is step, what's we'll say, this is step 3 and 4 of a 5 or 6 step process. Many of you have been very engaged in the process up to this point, having talked with Lori, talked with us, and there was a meeting early on where we went over a lot of this information. So hopefully it's nothing new to anyone who is on this evening. But we want to thank everybody for, again, participating and joining us. When I say 3 and 4, we'll have to, at the end of this discussion, take a vote on this the strategic plan as on behalf of the board, and then 4 or 5 would be the CLEOs, the LEOs, who would then take a vote as well, because those are 2 of the requirements for us to be able to submit this to the state and to the folks up in Richmond. So that would be the case. Any changes that are necessary through public comment, otherwise we will make those. They had initially required us to get this information to them by March 1st. They have softened that a little bit, but because of this, the circumstance with Ben and his leaving us before too long, we want to make sure that we get as much as possible done before he does leave. So we are thinking that as long as there aren't too many changes this afternoon, then that we can close out this aspect of the project. Let's see, we mentioned that there was a team of folks who have done a little bit more, not saying that we've overworked them, but the planning team members were Ben, John Capps, Gary Christie, Cheryl Gidget, Robert Johnson, Christine Kennedy, Ron Lovelace, myself, Sierra Phillips, and Tim Saunders. So we want to thank all that group of doing the deeper dive and helping Lori develop a plan, a process, and allowing her to very quickly get through this. So that is what we are here for today, and we want to take care of that very quickly. So with no more ado, I'll turn it over to Lori, and she can take us through a general overview and discussion on items. All right.
So great. Thank you so much, and a pleasure to be back with everyone again. Both Ben and Nate have gone through some of the overview, but let me just again remind everyone that the process steps were to create a strategic plan, which we created as a freestanding document. It's its own document, the strategic plan, and that strategic plan, much of that document became section 2 of the plan we have to provide to the state. And as Nat has said, there is a planning team that put the strategic plan together. For those of you that don't remember, we reached out to the community, to our customers. We did a series of focus groups to inform the strategy that the Workforce Board was going to commit to over the next 18 months. The state plan, the thing that we keep calling the state plan, is really the local plan, is how the state characterizes it. Your local plan for your Central Virginia Workforce Development Board. As Ben said, that plan has a template that you have to follow, and so there's 5 sections to the plan. Section 1 is the Workforce and Economic Analysis, which is an update to what you may have submitted 2 years ago, looking at the current state and the future state in terms of the economy. Section 2 is the strategic vision and goals, and that's where we incorporated the work from the strategy. And for those of you that were able to skim or read the state plan, Section 2 is very focused on how does your local strategic plan support the governors and the state boards. Was somebody trying to say something? Hello?
If somebody's trying to speak, it sounds like you're fading in and out.
so I'll just continue. The state plan, as I said in section 2, they ask you how you support the governor and the state board's strategies. And so if you didn't have a chance, if you look at page 12, you can see that we produced a chart that showed the state goals in the combined plan, the governor's goals, and then how your strategic plan priorities and goals supported the state plan. I think it's important for you all to know that when we developed the strategic plan, we didn't start with the governor's goals. What we said was, what are the workforce challenges that are going to be facing your local region over the next 15 to 18 months? And it was all very locally comprised, but then you can see that those local issues absolutely support the state's goals. Section 3 is your partnerships and your investment strategies. And so there's a conversation about your memorandum of understanding partners, the WIOA partners and other partners that you have. Program design and evaluation is section 4, looking at apprenticeship programs and career pathway programs, all of which we talk about in the strategic plan as well. And then section 5 is how you monitor and compliance issues, how you meet your oversight and monitoring responsibilities locally, how you make sure that you're expending your funds appropriately, how you are dispersing your funds, and how you are diversifying your funding sources to leverage your WIOA funds. So that's an overview of the plan itself and the process. The process continues. You all approved your strategic plan at the last meeting I was at. Your state plan has been posted for public comment. And my understanding is that your ethic in your area is not to just post for a certain period of time. I think it's been up about 2 weeks, but to leave it posted online posted so that people can make comments. You know, a plan should be organic. So as Nat said, the plan is due to the state between March 1st and, you know, within the first couple days or 10 days of the beginning of March. It's got to be submitted. That's why you need to approve it today so it can get there. But it's going to stay open for comment. We have received 4 sets of comments. One commenter was very gracious about thinking that both plans were very good. Other commenters, I'm going to let Ben review the comments, but other commenters were focused primarily on more specifics, tactics, asking questions like, how are you going to do certain things in their review? And for the most part, those are the kinds of things that would get answered in a business plan or an operations plan. They were focused on how, but I'll use that as a segue into Ben to summarize the comments that you got as part of the public comment period, and then we'll open this up for any questions or discussion before you take a motion to approve the state plan for submission to the state. So Ben, do you want to go through the comments that we received?
Yes, and I will attempt to bring those up for view. And the one thing I would emphasize is that there was some confusion, understandably so, between the strategic plan and the local plan. There again, the strategic plan was developed to kind of give us some focus and provide the foundation for the local plan. And what I found is most of the comments that came in were based on people looking at the strategic plan. There's nothing wrong with that. That's very, very helpful to get input from the public. We had, Lori had conducted a variety of focus groups looking at various stakeholders, including businesses, job seekers, youth, a variety of folks, and including our, community partners and community organizations. And so we got a fair number of comments from a particular organization that was really more directed towards the strategic plan. And what we will be doing is providing some more detailed feedback. This particular group of comments came in just 2 days ago. And so we'll be responding with some detailed feedback. And most of these comments are directly related to the strategic plan. And they are more specific, and these are the kinds of things that we will be addressing as we move forward into the next phase after our plan is approved. When our plan is approved by the state, our next process, as Nat mentioned, is to develop a business plan and a marketing, or in our sector, we call it an outreach and awareness plan. And those plans will actually provide the level of detail that many of the folks will be looking for, that show how we operationalize workforce within our region. Okay, so hang on, let me get back to my screen here. So, there's some of the details that were brought up is, they were looking for some specifics on marketing and advertising, outreach. All of that will be addressed in our specific plan, business, and our outreach and awareness plan. We did get some additional comments that were provided through the feedback portion of the website. One of the things that was identified in some of the strategic planning is the lack of broadband. I think we would all acknowledge that that is a challenge, especially in our rural areas, or for folks who may just be financially challenged in being able to afford broadband access. I think there was a lot of information that was discussed and included as we went through the strategic planning process. We did get some additional feedback that indicated that there certainly is a need of reaching out to, or certainly a concern for reaching out to some of the maybe special populations of individuals with disabilities, and I think there was some concern as well about how we manage through some of the COVID-related issues that has impacted our region. There again, I would say that those details will be addressed as we move forward with developing our business plan, or what I would say is basically our implementation plan.
And I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I was going to add something, but I thought you were done. Go ahead.
Yeah, and we'll be posting these comments on our website as well for public view. I'm sorry, Lori.
So Ben, I was just going to prompt you to say that we didn't think that any of the comments called for changes in the local plan that has to be submitted to the state. We think that those questions provided a good set of questions that we need to make sure we address in the implementation plan.
Exactly.
And the other thing is the COVID related. I just wanted to confirm that if you read the strategic plan as its own document, we spent a lot of time in the introduction talking about COVID and the impact. And then the one comment about what about specifics around disabilities and other kinds of groups, we really have a key set of goals and strategies that talk to reaching out to underrepresented and underemployed populations. And so in a strategy, it's the big picture. So that captures those groups. And in the implementation plan, you would be very specific about what your marketing strategy or outreach strategy is going to be to those who have disabilities, those who are veterans, those who are, what those audiences are and what those messages are. But we have attended to those things in the at the strategic level and in the state plan. So I just wanted to emphasize that, Ben.
Thank you.
So I think it's time now to open this up for discussion. If anybody has any questions. As Ben said, this has to be submitted to the state. They give themselves 30 days, I think it's 30 days, to turn it around with any comments that they have, in the sense of telling you what they think you didn't address well or giving you any feedback. Then it has to be revised. So at that point, Ben may be gone, and I think Tim or I'm certainly available. If you get a lot of commentary, we'll look at revising it, and then you submit it for final approval, and it's supposed to be implemented as of July 1. So that's the process. So they ostensibly giving themselves 30 days from their March 1st original deadline. So you'll get feedback sometime in April about what they think about your plan. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or comments. Now's the time.
I'll just make a comment that, as Lori mentioned earlier, it's our intent to keep the public comment section up on our website and continue to make that available at least through the end of June. That's what we've done in the past, because if you read through our local plan, it does mention in a couple locations there the idea of continuous improvement. And I believe strongly that if we are to continuously improve what we're doing with our workforce system, we need to have ongoing input and dialogue with all of our stakeholders. And so for that reason, I think it's important that we keep this plan up on our site and allow ongoing comment, because we can discuss and talk through some things today, and you might go home tonight or sometime over the weekend and look in more detail and say, well, I should have thought about this, or I wish I'd have said that. But this will give you the opportunity to do that over the coming weeks and months, as well as share this with other folks that you think need to look at this and provide additional input.
So does anybody have anything you would like to say? Ben, it looks like that people don't have a lot of comments. I'm looking at, I don't see any hands up.
Nothing in the chat room.
Or nothing in the chat room. I'm looking.
So Ben, I think that, as a requirement for these meetings, we do have to have public comment. So I just want to make sure that people understood that your request for public comment covered that aspect. And yes. So everyone is either a member of the board or affiliation thereof. We don't have any media, but just wanted to just make that for the record that we did offer that opportunity for public comment.
Certainly.
So I don't, Ben and Nate, I don't see, and Nat, I don't see anything in the comments, and I don't see anybody raising their hands to speak. So it may be that you could call for a motion. I don't know.
All right. Well, I would think so as well. I was looking around. Everybody looks like they are ready and are very understanding of the information that you provided. So, Lori, thank you very much for being very clear and succinct in your presentation. So with that, I'll entertain a motion now to approve this state plan to be submitted immediately or by the first part of March to the state for their review. Lori, did that cover everything that we need? It
does.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
All right. So is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt this draft plan to be pushed up to state for their review.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. Do we have a second?
Bill Coleman, second.
Okay, my computer froze for a second. Did I get a second from anyone?
Yeah, Bill Coleman, second.
Okay, thank you, Bill. So it's been properly moved and second that we approve the state plan as has been presented by Lori. Any additional discussion? Hearing none. This always gets tricky. I think I can call for a voice vote, and only if there's a nay that we would have to go further into it. So all those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
And okay, this is very important. Anyone who is opposed to this, please state nay. I'll say nay. All right, so thank you very much. The plan has been approved and it can be forwarded on to the state as after the vote from the local elected officials. So I know, Ben, you wanted to cover a few more program updates. That won't take long at all. So a few more minutes of your patience. Again, just really appreciate getting everyone together so quickly. We were together a week ago and going well beyond the Call of Duty, and may have to pay y'all time and a half for being here. But, Ben, program updates.
Okay. Yeah, so I think Keith is with us, and I've asked him just to share a minute or two about what's been going on with the Career Center, the one-stop operations. We I guess the best way to describe it, we've been juggling a bit, but Keith?
Sure. Yeah, so we've had a few, COVID exposures. We've had a couple of shutdowns about a week or so. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Somebody needs to mute.
But we've responded to that. It has prompted us to continue to evaluate other more kind of virtual options that we can have with people when they aren't able to physically come to the center. The dilemma again still is that the people that are coming to meet with us in the resource room need that kind of one-on-one attention. They don't have access to a computer. We are looking for things that we could do potentially over the phone and different options there. Adult dislocated worker and youth numbers are down a bit. Again, I think we're finding even as things kind of prolong and maybe some unintended consequences here with the bills that keep getting passed, is that people are struggling to want to get back out there and work. And so we had pretty low numbers for enrollment. There's plenty of funding and staff, excited and ready to go. So again, the circles that you're in, please let them know. Virginia Career Works is open for business, and we want to help people get the skills that they need to be successful long term. So please help with that. I was excited. Performance that was reported for first quarter of 2020 was really good. Met or exceeded all performance measures. Again, realizing that those people are for people that exited the program in 2019. And it takes a while for all that to cycle through. So knowing that performance as we get that for what happened during COVID is still yet to come. And so we need to be prepared for that. There were plenty of trainings that kind of shut down and people who might not end up with credentials that would have and those kind of things. But that'll come in time. But again, moving forward here, excited to keep helping people and definitely want to see more traffic and more people physically coming to the center.
Okay.
Any questions? I'd be more than happy to address them.
All right. Well, great. We appreciate all the work that you guys are doing there at the Career Center. Lots of positives, and and certainly we realize that there have been a couple of speed bumps and roadblocks in the sense of having to deal with COVID-related issues. So appreciate your ability to really navigate on the fly. Ben, was there anything else in regards to program updates?
Yeah, thank you, Keith. And I'd just like to take a few moments to thank all of you for the opportunity to serve with you over the past almost 7 years. As you're well aware, I'm moving in a different direction come March the 5th, but it's been great. Reflecting back, just a few thoughts I've had. For the past many years, I've been traveling the expressway into downtown Lynchburg, and if you get off at the exit, there's these signs that right before you get to the exit that says downtown Lynchburg, Riverfront, and so that's the exit I've taken for quite a few years. But the thing that has intrigued me for many years is I noticed early on that right before exit 1, which is the downtown Riverside exit, there's an exit 2. And exit 2 is to Grace Street, Grace. And so that kind of fascinated me. And so I did take that street and realized that if you get off at that exit, you go into a different area of town And that was one of the pathways that I could take to get to our Youth Work Center, and certainly into an area that's economically challenged. But I think that was a real powerful message to me, that the interesting thing with workforce development is we kind of bridge the gap between the business community and the workforce. And we do have a special focus on the individuals who are struggling to find a better future. And so, I would say that the work that you do, and certainly would wish for each of you grace and peace in your future, and certainly continue to do the great work of reaching out and making this community a powerful community. So thank you very much.
And of course, Ben, we really do appreciate all the work you've done and your willingness to really, perhaps even delay your transition to your new job for a week or 2 or 3 to allow us the time to help get through this this planning process. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. And for all the board members, I really do appreciate your willingness to stick through us for the last year. Really the last year has been very administrative. I can't tell you or say that really I presented, we as a board and these meetings have been very administrative. We haven't done a lot of, anything that's ultimately interesting or done any fun projects or done anything of that nature. Everything's been pretty much, let's get this taken care of, vote on this, vote on that, get bylaws or plans in place. So hopefully in the coming meetings, we can bring a little bit of education and some brainstorming into doing some of the things that the plan is set forth. So look forward to that, and certainly maybe even bringing Ben back as a guest speaker from time to time, see how he's doing. But so we want to thank everybody for joining us today. Lori, we really do appreciate all the work you've done. It's just been phenomenal. When we went into this process back as the year was closing out, we realized that it was going to be a Herculean feat to get done by March 1st, almost to the point where we immediately asked for a postponement or a delay in having to get it. Initially, they told us, no, it's got to be there on March 1st. So, so we said, all right, let's do it. And so we chose the right person. Lori came in and really just took the bull by its horns and got us through it. And certainly, we aren't the only ones she's working with. I think you said 3 others, aren't you?
Yeah.
And doing this very same process. So hopefully we were the recipients of the things you learned from them versus the other way around. Hopefully we weren't teaching you a lot of things that you took back to them. But so we do appreciate it.
I've appreciated it too, and I've appreciated knowing Ben. And again, as I said, I'm certainly available if you get a lot of comments from the state and Tim needs some support. I just would feel that that's just part of completing the whole process. I don't want you to think that you'd have to hire me separately if you get comments from the state and Ben's not there anymore. And Tim, my job was to get you through the process. So I would consider that part of the process. So please, Gary, Tim, you don't feel hesitant to reach out to me to help incorporate whatever comments the state may give back to you, because just like an audit, a tax audit, what I learned when my company was, they don't send people in to do a review and not find something. So you are clear, there'll be some comments, whether they're extensive or not is another story. But I just want you to know that I'll still be available to you.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anyone have any final comments or thoughts in regards to this portion of the Zoom call or the meeting? Anyone have final thoughts? So we do appreciate the workforce board members for joining us. Let's see, so we are 48 minutes in, 48 minutes in, so didn't take an hour. So that we appreciate the speed that we went through and got everything taken care of that we need to from the board. So certainly you can continue on and stay on with us for the next few minutes as we have conversations with the elected officials. But if you are so inclined, you are welcome to sign off, and we appreciate it. And hopefully there won't be a cause for me to have to call another meeting next week. So we look forward to seeing you soon, but not too soon. So with that, thank you. And we'll ask that the elected officials to remain on for just a few more minutes.
Thanks, Nat. Thanks, Ben.
Okay, take care.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
And so we have with us, as I mentioned earlier, Trinae has a city council meeting, and I think that's probably where Sterling was heading as he so graciously tried to participate. But we do have 3 of our elected officials representing John Hinkle with Appomattox, Jennifer Moore with Amherst, and Kenny Brown with Campbell County. And so the challenge that we're in right now is, I had some dialogue with Trinae Tweedy, who is the chair of the elected officials group, and she had suggested that we go ahead and what we would need to do, I guess, and this is a new scenario, but Gary or whoever, maybe you can give me a little guidance. Should we ask for a volunteer facilitator between Ms. Moore, Mr. Brown, and Mr. Hinkle, who would be willing to call the elected officials meeting to order?
I make a motion they call the elected officials meeting to order.
Okay. And Mr. Brown, would you be willing to serve as the facilitator for the elected officials meeting and call for the discussion, public comment, and the vote?
I can. Let me get all things
Okay.
situated right now. I'd be glad to.
Okay. And let's see. Let me go ahead and bring up an agenda for
Well,
this particular
as
group.
As you do that, of course, I mean, so I think this can be an abbreviated conversation because all 3 were able to be a part of the conversation earlier. So let's not repeat anything that was repeated earlier, unless the board members feel like there was something that they need some clarification on.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring up the agenda right now. I can't seem to pull it up. I'm probably not looking in the correct place.
Okay. Hold on just a moment, and I'll get that agenda up.
So while you're doing that, Ben, I will tell you that just quite often when I have, fairly important meetings, I'll try to take them from home. So I was traveling from my office home and got home in plenty of time, as I thought, to be able to log in. But of course, my home computer took an extremely long period of time. And then twice when I tried to log in, it took me to a place that must have been in Never Never Land because I'm not sure where I was.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, so we have, I'll just do a formal roll call, and Tim, I guess we're still recording the meeting?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. And so with our elected officials group, we have with us Kenny Brown with Campbell County, Jennifer Moore with Amherst County, and John Hinkle with Appomattox County. And we appreciate you joining with us today. And we do have several guests continuing on from participation in the Workforce Development Board. And let's see, Mr. Brown, I will, in the absence of Ms. Tweedy, I will turn it over to you for the official welcome and call to order.
Okay, I'm trying to find everything I got here, but I'm glad to see that everyone can make it here today, and both is there in person and video and by phone, of course. And I'd like to officially call this meeting to order. I think, Ben, are you going to do the roll call, Ben?
Yes. Yeah, and so for the elected officials represented today, we have Jennifer Moore.
Here.
Okay. Kenny Brown.
Here.
Okay, and John Hinkle. Is John still with us?
He's there, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. John, can you hear us, John?
He's listed as still here, Ben, on the
Yes.
side.
Yeah.
But it's
and
muted.
Doesn't show him as muted.
Yeah, me either.
Okay. John Hinkle, can you hear us? Or maybe if you can respond in the chat box. Okay.
He raised his
Ben-
hand. He's got a.
Ben, he just
Okay.
put his hand up.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hinkle. Okay. Can you all see the agenda? Those of you who are on video, and I guess Mr. Brown, if
I had the agenda pulled up, just a general sheet in here. I guess what we need to do, Ben, is look through the electronic meeting guidelines.
yes. And so just as a brief update on that, we do follow the state of Virginia guidelines for the electronic meetings. We're allowed to have this meeting electronically due to the COVID pandemic. And this meeting is recorded. And since we have a quorum present, we can proceed with the meeting.
So Ben, this is Jennifer. I just want to say I'm by phone. I'm not, I can't see a screen. So just wanted you to be aware.
Okay. All right. So I will just reviewing over the meeting guidelines, the way the agenda would flow. We would have a chance for overview of the local workforce plan, which we have presented in the previous meeting with the Workforce Development Board. And I guess on the agenda, we would have an opportunity here for additional public input and comments. We certainly value your thoughts, suggestions, input as elected officials representing our area citizens as well.
Okay, are we ready to go into the local workforce plan, Ben? And
Yes.
Brett, Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Was that yes, Ben?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'll just kick it off very quickly. You have heard the report and overview by Lori in the last meeting. Certainly, she did a very good job in regards to going into details and explaining both the need for the strategic plan and then for the local plan for public comment / career for Central Virginia region. Versus going over that again in detail, I think that we just sort of will allow you to have any questions that you might have for Lori. Or Lori, do you have any summary statements that you want to make in regards to the plan?
I don't think so. I mean, everybody was on at the last meeting, so unless there's some questions for clarification, I think we're good.
So I have a question. Ben, I had sent over some comments, and maybe you reviewed those in the last meeting. Just in terms of accuracy, like on page 8, it mentions Centra Health, and I think they go by
Yes.
Centra now. I don't know
That's
if that needs
correct.
to be edited.
Yes.
And then on page 9, I'm sorry.
That's well noted. Yes, we will make those. We will be making some adjustments on the input and then repost that onto our website. And I really appreciate you taking the time to make those comments.
Okay, so
Yes.
you have all those written down.
We did.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then my only other question was, in this local plan, do we need to define the X's on all of the outcomes, or is that in the strategic plan? I was a little bit confused on the last meeting.
So I'll answer that question. So we don't, the strategic plan, when we approved it, the X's are there as placeholders because it takes a little while to figure out your metrics, and that's going to be part of the development of your operations or implementation plan. And they'll be done in the next, I don't know, before June, before the beginning of June, and then the strategic plan gets revised and those X's will be in, and the state won't care. That it's qualified in the plan why they're just X's at the moment.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So if there are no other questions or comments, I see where John is saying, I can hear you all fine. Don't know why you can't hear me. I had no questions at this time. So that's from Mr. Hinkle. He was in the chat room. So if there are no additional questions or public input, we'll return the control back to Ben or to the chairperson or the interim
Yes.
chairperson.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, if I make a motion here that we close any inputs and comments from the board of staff, and what we do is we need to go ahead and help a motion from someone to approve this, vote on it.
So there are two others on the line. So one has to be John, the other one has to be Jennifer. So
That's correct.
John, if you want to put it in the comments section,
Are you asking for an aye now?
or a motion, either way.
You need a motion.
Okay. And you just need a motion to approve the draft plan as presented, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Then I move that we accept the draft plan as presented and submit it to the state.
Okay, great. And in the chat room, John has seconded the motion.
Thank you.
Back on you, Mr. Brown.
If we got a motion and a second there, we need to take a vote on it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And aye from Mr. Hinckley.
Okay. Any nays?
Hinkle.
If we have no nay votes this time, approve that we send in motions and information to the state.
Thank you. Okay. One other item of business, the Elected Officials Council is responsible for approving board members for the Workforce Development Board. And we, as a workforce board, are required to have certain members from our stakeholder groups. One of the agencies that is a participant with the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act in Virginia is the Virginia Department for Aging and Rehabilitative Services. And so this past fall, Roxanne Slaughter, who was the district manager for DARS, retired and created a vacancy for the DARS role with the Workforce Development Board. And so we have received a nomination for Nate Mahanes. It's been approved, certainly screened and approved by the Workforce Development Board. So we bring Nate Mahanes to you today, seeking your nomination, your support to approve him for the Central Virginia Workforce Development Board. And I'm happy to provide any background information on Nate. He has been in the region for quite a few years, serving as the business development manager for the Department of Aging and Rehabilitative Services, basically responsible for contacting businesses, helping network, and help people help individuals with disabilities find good employment opportunities.
And you need a motion for us to accept him, is that correct?
Please.
Mr. Hinkle has made the motion on the chat room. So.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
And all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay.
Well, Mr. Bowman, I'm very happy to let Nate know that we can, he is on the Virginia Department for Aging and Rehabilitation Services, and he will be an asset to our team.
Okay. Thank you. And that really basically takes care of most of our business for the day, for this meeting. Unless there's any other comments or questions, I'm certainly happy to try to respond any way I can.
If that's the case, then I'd like to have a motion from the floor that we adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Motion carried. Okay, gentlemen and ladies, we appreciate everyone being here today, and Ben, I'm glad I can assist you.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Thank you all. We
Yes.
appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jen.
right.
Hey, Ben, thank you very much.